So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. These iPhones are fading. Now, when I say fading, I don't mean that they're literally fading out of existence. I just mean that the phone is no longer something I recommend being at the top of priority of purchasing unless you're looking for a budget steal. And that we're going to begin with the first iPhone. No, it's not the 13 Pro. That's a placeholder. Right here, we're going to begin with the iPhone 10. The iPhone 10 was an iconic redesign back in 2017, featuring the Apple A11 Bionic chipset, 3 gigabytes of RAM. It does have itself a nice edge-to-edge kind of screen with the infamous, also widely accepted notch up there at the top. And you can see that overall, it still looks kind of like a modern iPhone, big screen, notch display, pretty thin bezels. However, it has a slower CPU. It definitely gets warm now. The battery life is not amazing anymore. And while most people can run most general iOS tasks, every iPhone since the 2017 year has been pretty good. The iPhone 10 is just kind of fading away. I don't see a ton of interest in this phone anymore, and you can't really get a lot of money back on this device anymore. So again, if you have this phone, don't take it personal. I'm just saying it's not the top option anymore. It's not even a top recommendation for an option of a used device. So definitely fading a little bit. Still a solid phone. It was one of the best made. It kind of is what brought us to this current era of iPhone. Now the next one is going to be a phone that's been upgraded so many times, and this is why I put it on the list, and that's going to be the iPhone XR. Now the XR has been a fantastic phone to recommend over the years. You've seen I recommended it multiple times, has multiple different colors, but it's been upgraded so many times. It was upgraded to the iPhone 11, which brought multiple colors again, the iPhone 12, which brought multiple colors again, and all the way to the current era where we have the iPhone 13. So now we have an iPhone 13 and we're gonna have a 14 probably with more colors again. So this phone was very important for the future of iPhone, giving you an option that stays around that $700-800 range instead of having only $1,000 iPhones. However, now it's just been upgraded so many times, it's just really hard to say this is an iPhone to recommend. So we go to iPhone here, we go down, you can see so many different color options. So iPhone 11 still available. It's just the XR is just aged now at this point. And while it does have a pretty good CPU, you've seen a little bit of lag there, it still runs okay, no major issues. A single camera is nice to use if you don't want to have multiple cameras and keep it simple. XR did have some nice deep colors. It's just an older phone now, and it's something that's kind of fading, and it's just not super popular in my opinion anymore. It might be popular amongst people who already have it and maybe passing it along to someone else or buying it used or something like that. But overall, it's fading a little bit. It's been upgraded so many times, it'll be upgraded again. The next one is a phone that I've kind of tried to push and people just seem to not care. This phone just didn't get a lot of love. It's the iPhone XS, and I actually really like this phone because it was a better version of the iPhone 10, which was a great phone at the time. It was just a faster version of it, and it seemed to be overlooked. It had the Apple A12 Bionic, 4 gigs of RAM, and the reason why is the XS Max came out this year, so that Max size device actually was a bigger upgrade for the iPhone 10 user who didn't like the size or just wanted a big version of this. So the XS was just like, okay, another iPhone 10, I don't care. A lot of people just didn't simply care too much for this phone. However, it did have a nice dual camera HDR setup. It did have 4K 60 on the rear. It was actually a pretty good improvement over the iPhone X's camera at the time. Nothing like the 11 Pro, but definitely a really good camera and still usable to this day, no problems. Only thing with this one was the front-facing camera didn't upgrade too much, but overall, I gotta say, battery life, decent on this phone, not amazing. It was essentially a better version of the iPhone XR, a more premium version of an iPhone XR with a slightly smaller display. Other than that, the XS was solid, but it just didn't have a lot of love ever since the beginning. And it's still, I don't feel like it gets too much love even to this day. Again, these phones right here, you cannot sell them for too much anymore. So that's why it's kind of hard to recommend them unless you just want to get something cheap on the side, because you're not going to be able to sell these to get a lot of money back out of them. They'll still have a couple updates left. Even the 10 is getting iOS 16, so updates are not out yet, but still, they're fading a little bit. And the last one is going to throw people off. They're not going to agree with this one. And this one is still a great phone, but it's the iPhone 11 Pro. Now, why do I put this here? I'm putting this here for the same reason I put the iPhone XR here, and that's because the phone has been upgraded so many times already. We had the 12 Pro and the 13 Pro, and we're about to have in just 1 month another triple or maybe even quad camera Pro phone. So this phone is fading a little bit in popularity and stuff like that, and the device itself just gives you a really good overall camera setup, but it's missing 5G. It's missing, the longer battery life of the newer iPhone 13 Pro, the bigger screen, the ProMotion. So this is a Pro phone, and it doesn't really feel so Pro anymore. It kind of feels like a XS style phone with a triple camera. So great upgrades when it came out. I love the 11 Pro. Not saying it's bad. It's an amazing phone. It was, again, the start to the current iPhone 13 Pro, the refinements and stuff like that. However, I just don't see this phone getting a lot of love anymore. And again, this one's not able to be sold for anywhere near what you would have paid for this when it came out. So, and a fantastic phone, still runs fine, still good battery life on the 11 Pro, still great cameras. But the iPhone 11 Pro definitely, I think, fading a little bit. And this kind of happened to the XS as well. And again, as we have the 14 series come out, I don't think anybody's going to be talking too much about 11 Pro so much anymore. So it's a little sad to see these phones just came out not too long ago, like the 11 Pro 3 years ago, XR 4 years ago, just about. And they're kind of just like forgotten about pretty quickly. But these are the ones I believe are fading right now. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with my list of iPhones that are fading right now? Down below in the comments, let us talk about it. What you notice here is that all these iPhones right here, they're all very similar in design. They do have rounded edges. So it's, if you notice, most of the rounded edge iPhones are the ones that I kind of feel like are a little bit fading out now. Thumbs up if you found the video helpful, entertaining, informing. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I just want to make it known that it's not saying, this video is not saying don't pick these up if you found the steal of a deal on them. It's just saying these phones are likely not going to be retaining too much value going forward, like getting you a lot of money back if you decide to sell it. And they might not have the longest software support anymore, but all of these phones really were hot sellers and they all did very well, and they all still perform pretty well as well. The iPhone 10 a little bit slower, iPhone XR starting to slow down a little bit, but XS, 11 Pro, 13 Pro was just there. It's not really in this video. Still pretty solid. I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.